Carlos, do you have any question?
No, I don't have any question. I just know that Chester has a lot of buildings from 13th century, isn't it? All the Tudor houses made of the dark wood. Well,
Yeah,
this was on the main street, the high street. I don't know what is the name specifically.
Yeah, all the streets have got weird names as well. But you can just see one of those buildings that Carlos is referring to on the left of this image. So there's the black and white Victorian building. So yeah, they're all wooden. I was saying last time they used
Seems like we're having a problem.
to be white and brown, and then more recently, kind of interesting as well. There's a lot of history in Chester, so it's like a Roman town. So there's like a Roman stone walls that go all the way around the city. So you can walk in one continuous loop around the old Roman walls, and there's the old Roman amphitheatre, and there's all these different like Roman sites, but then within the Roman, and the clock as well. So the clock that we can see now is part of the walls. So that is built into the walls. It's a newer structure. So that was built in 1897. It's got the date on it. And that was to like celebrate the reign of Queen Victoria, one of the queens before Queen Elizabeth. So yeah, it's just I think it's just a really cool looking clock. And I think it's the most photographed and the most famous clock in the UK after Big Ben in London. So you got Big Ben, which is really famous. And then this one would be the next clock. But as you say, most people wouldn't think to visit Chester. They go to London, they go to Manchester. Something that I thought was cool as well, which I didn't mention last time, is we're talking about Chester, but there's a lot of towns and cities in the UK with the word Chester in it. So you've got Manchester, you've got Colchester, you've got like there's loads of Chesters, but this is like Chester, the main one.
Okay.
Yeah, the original. So this is the amphitheatre, yes. So that's the amphitheatre where I was last time in the top left. On the right is the Roman Gardens. So that's very close to the amphitheatre. So you can see like the bottom of the pillars. If anyone's ever been to like Pompeii in Italy, and you can go and see that, that's not so Roman actually, is it? But you get the idea. Like it's similar to the architecture you'd see in Rome and that kind of place, because that was obviously the center of the empire, and then they expanded out and got to the UK. And then in the bottom left, you can see the Roman walls as well, with like the towers. So you'd have the Roman walls, but then they've been used for years later. Although the Romans built this, fort, it's been used as a, like a strategic military town and things for years later. So yeah.
And maybe the reason why it's all demolished because of the war in England. Like you guys have like a lot of wars during the years. So but it's not the same thing in Rome.
Yeah, a lot of
the Rome, they still have the Colosseum and other big theaters.
For example, here in Chester,
we have had a lot of.
I'm sorry. Chester was in war with whom? With whom was it war?
Say that again.
Or Chester were struggling with which I don't know, like country or town.
I think it was a lot of civil wars. Yeah, so I don't think it was more like international wars. Like it was more civil wars going back between like the Roundheads and all that kind of thing. Where you talk about the War of the Roses and the 100-Year War, all internal. It's all like old politics and things. And the thing as well is what's a bit different about the UK. When you travel around Europe, like a lot of mainland Europe was destroyed during World War II. So because the main fighting was done. you know, on the streets of France, on the streets of, you know, like Poland and things like that, Czech Republic. But the UK never really was invaded during World War II. So we got bombed a lot. The German bombers would come over and drop bombs on us, but they didn't really bomb Chester because Chester was small. So, you know, they took all their bombers and bombed Manchester and bombed Liverpool. So there's whole areas of Liverpool which were just destroyed and had to be rebuilt, whereas Chester, relatively untouched.
Okay.
But I don't think it was the wars which, yeah.
Okay, because at the north is the Adrian Wall, isn't it? And I found it where